Talks honest. Talks honest. Talks honest. Talks honest. Hello and welcome to Talks Honest. You are tuned into iLiveUK, changing the way you listen to radio. I'm your host, Miss Law, and joining me on today's show will be Miss Mode. This is a talk platform, an opportunity for you to express yourself and discuss topics never spoken of but often thought of. You can connect with us by contacting us on 0208 638 8503 or www.iliveradio.com/ilive-UK. Please come and get involved in our discussions.
What if we spoke honestly? 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 What if we spoke honestly?
Today's topic is, what do you look for in a man or a woman?
I think it just depends where you're going.
So, when you meet someone, what is it that you're looking for in that individual? Are you looking for a companion? Are you looking for someone to enhance yourself? Are you looking for someone to possibly fill a void that you have within yourself, within your life? Or just looking for someone to make you complete?
I think this is broken up into different sections.
Definitely.
Because of how we live today in society. It's like, you know, you have these online dating websites and stuff like that. So in your head you have an idea of what you want and what you're looking for, and it's like if you go down the online route of looking for a date, you can kind of fizzle out. I say fizzle out, but you know, there's some people who tend to be a bit fake on the internet, but you could remove those who are just looking for just one particular thing. If, for example, if someone's who say like the person is looking for a relationship, they're not going to actually look for someone who is just all about the sexual side and that's it.
But how could you tell that by just, okay, for example, you mentioned one of the dating apps, so to speak, or sites.
Well, I just said online dating,
so to speak.
In general. Yeah.
So when I think about an online app, it's just a perception of a person.
Yeah, because what they might put, it might not be how they are in
real life.
Yeah.
For example, they may put a picture when they were 20, they're now 80.
Yeah.
They may say that they're slim.
Yeah, because they kind of fabricate
who
their
they
appearance.
are. Yeah. So then,
and that's a common thing.
Yeah. So if you're fabricating who you are you actually true to yourself?
See, that's another thing as well, right? For example, if someone's being true to themselves and they say who they are, now we're only talking about this online dating site, right? If that person is being honest about how they look, because they've uploaded a photo of themselves and that's their current way they look, and they've put out their occupation and stuff like that, yeah, that's fine. But then you do get others who will put up a celebrity or some type of model who fits the criteria of who that other person is looking for.
Yeah, so it's acceptable in that other person's eyes, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's think about this. Let's use Facebook as an example.
Okay.
On a day-to-day basis, you see people posting stuff about themselves. Enhancing themselves to look a certain way, to be perceived a certain way.
The filters. Yeah.
Yes. All these little things to enhance how they physically look.
Right. Yeah.
Now, being a man or a woman, we say we have a type.
Yeah.
we believe we have a type.
Yeah.
Until that type that we've been pursuing no longer our type.
Right.
So do we really have a type? Or do we just have a preference on how we like a man to look, smell, his stature, his structure, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think it's preference. It all boils down to preference, because it's like when you're younger, you probably like the muscular guy, or someone who works out in the gym
someone
a
who
lot.
looks physically good on the eye.
But then, later on it will probably change to someone who's a bit more chubby, a bit more overweight, and that's what you're more or less attracted to now. Yeah. So it all varies.
Yeah.
I think.
So using Facebook as an example, I think it's important that people be who they are.
Right.
Because it's misleading.
Yeah.
And it's not because you can't seem to be that way inclined, or you may want to look that way, but being true to yourself is just displaying who you are right now.
Right.
I don't see the point in put a picture when you was 20 years old and you was looking fabulous.
I think it's something mentally, because we live in a society where we've got this image.
Yeah, there's an image
of what
we got to live up to.
Of what beauty is.
Yeah.
So you see that image of beauty, it's more or less a muscular guy. I'm just talking on a men's side. Muscular guy, tall, dark and handsome.
Yeah.
As that's been talked, or that phrase has been around for years.
Yeah. But you see, when someone says tall, dark and handsome, I just think of film straight away.
Right.
In my head, straight away, dark, tall and handsome, just the bells ring, film. A film. Someone you see on TV, the Bond films and so on and so forth. That straight away comes to mind. Now, tall, dark and handsome can mean a number of things to different people. It's down to interpretation. Yeah. Because you're tall, dark and handsome may mean something completely different to my tall, dark and handsome. Because you're how tall and I'm how short. Yeah. So your tall is a different tall to my tall. Right, yeah. Even though that's tall. So when you look at things, when you actually dissect things like we are, perceptions, visuals of people are quite important to us as a people. For the simple reason, based on what we see, we determine whether we like it or not. Right. But it's only face value, it's only what you see. So, okay, you like something visually, but let's dig a bit deeper. What characteristics are you looking for in a person? For me, is more important. Because you can have a fabulous looking guy,
and he could be arrogant, and
he could be abusive. Yeah. So sometimes I think we're a little bit shallow as to how we see things, how we perceive things, and how we want things to be. Because I think we're looking for this perfect world, which doesn't really exist. It doesn't, but we've got to go up and down the spectrum, because you have your late teens and 20s and 30s and up, and then you've got your over 50s, and they might have a different kind of preference to someone who is much more younger. Like, I think as you are getting older, you kind of establish what you want in a person, as in their characteristics, their personality, just to see how they are in general. For you to find out about that, it's not something that you just know. No, it's not. It's on a first date or something like, or just talking to someone. I would agree with you there, because it's something, it's built on experience, isn't it? Yeah. Like we were saying, like when you're young, you look at something attractive on the eye. Yeah. As you mature, your focus changes because you're changing. Yeah, because I feel I'm not going to tarnish all the young people, but some may be a bit naive and they're more focused on the visual. Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think the whole package. Now, when we're breaking it down, male and female, we do look for completely different things. Yeah. A younger man is more interested in probably a girl who is looking physically fit. Yeah. You know, makeup, maybe not. Hair, maybe. They look for certain little things the regular things, the attributes of a woman. They look for those kind of things. Now, as you get older, if you've got a good woman, those things become secondary. Because you've got a good woman.
Right, and that stands out more than just what you're seeing physically. It's like the physical is like the bonus.
Yes. Yeah. So for a younger person, they would think, oh, I need to have that kind of girl. But is that kind of girl looking for that kind of guy?
Right, yeah.
And is that kind of girl who's keeping herself looking like that, wanting a guy that looks better than her or of similar stature? And that's where it gets a bit complicated, because what I want in a person isn't necessarily what the other person wants in me.
Yeah, very true.
And it complicates things to the point that you can be in a relationship with somebody and not actually know that individual.
Very true. And you'll be with them for how many years, and it's then an epiphany happens.
That's
and you're
right.
like, oh, so I've wasted 5-6 years
exactly
in this relationship
to find out that you're not the person,
it wasn't worth it,
that I had inspired to,
right,
or was attracted to, or he wasn't my type.
Right.
It goes back to the type.
Yeah.
So do we really know what our type is?
I think we don't, but we rely on what's ever put out in the media. All right, take for example, we are at home as young people.
Yeah.
We pick up a magazine or a newspaper or what's on the TV.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say now they're starting to be a little bit more diverse.
Yeah.
But for us growing up, we just saw a certain look.
Yeah.
And that look wasn't what we saw in our household.
No, it was never. No.
So you're seeing that all the time, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. So it's like, as you get to teens or late teens now, and you're starting to like someone, you could like a person who may be overweight, but because peer pressure, right, as well, you might like this girl and she's everything that you want, but because she looks a certain way and maybe your friends wouldn't date her because of how she physically looks, you're gonna hold on to what they're thinking and just run with what they're doing,
because everyone's doing the same thing,
right? That plays a part. That plays a part.
When you see a couple together sometimes, you look at them, you think to yourself, what a lovely couple, or they look good together, and you have a conversation with one of those individuals, and what you had seen isn't what it is,
right?
What springs in your mind? Like, do you think, have they been together a long time and they were attracted to each other for one reason, their relationship transpired into something else now, and they're going different paths?
Well, I think it as I said, it all boils down to what initially each individual wanted. It could have been a situation where the person maybe have not had nowhere to live, for example, right?
Okay.
And they're staying there just to keep a roof over their head, so they do whatever they can to stay there until maybe they find someone else where they can go and stay with them, because there is a few situations
so sometimes
like that.
Circumstances
so it just
cause
depends
people to be with people.
I feel that plays a part.
Straight away that rings alarm bells, red flags, because you shouldn't want to be with a person for what they can do for you. You shouldn't want to be with a person because of what they have. You should genuinely want to be with a person because you want to be with that person,
right?
Because you love what they bring to the table. And I'm not talking about material. So now we're going elsewhere. Because what I was going to say is, you could have a conversation with a group of girlfriends and you'll be like, oh yeah,
what do you look for in a man? And they'll be like, well, he has to be financially stable, he has to be have his own home, he has to drive his own car. There's a list. But then it's like, well, what are you bringing?
Exactly. I was just about to put that on you and say, okay, you want all these things, but what do you have?
Right.
What are you bringing to the table?
That's right. Yeah.
Can you match all these things that you require or want?
But then my thing is, it's like, what makes you require those things?
Yeah. What makes you so important?
Right. That you must have all these those needs. Things.
Yeah.
Now, are you that interested in the man or his lifestyle?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Because you could be with a guy, for example, who may be working in, let's just say, McDonald's.
Yeah.
But he's working.
Yeah.
He may be going to uni or college to study, to further his education, and maybe not necessarily work for someone else, but have his own business.
Yeah.
Are you, as that woman, gonna be in a relationship with
that type of
guy?
Yeah.
Some of them wouldn't.
Yeah, a lot of them wouldn't. You'd have to be, and this is where it's quite annoying that you should expect from another individual when you yourself cannot even provide what you're expecting.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I feel that people need to humble themselves to a degree where they're in tune with themselves.
The key word, humble.
Humble,
right?
Yeah. In order to understand what you need to do to get what you need to get or have.
Right.
Because no one owes us anything. You know, we make our own choices.
That's right.
We make our own decisions.
Yeah.
We get it wrong at times because sometimes we're looking for the wrong things.
Right. Yeah.
And this can possibly boil down to why a number of relationships do not work.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you're looking at the wrong attributes in an individual.
That's right.
And when you really think about it, people aren't honest with themselves about who they actually are.
Oh, that's right.
But they want to connect with somebody to enhance them.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe an individual that you connect with in a relationship should be there to enhance you. And I say that for the simple reason is you're supposed to both bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And that's the point of connection.
That's right.
That's when you have that connection. That's when you become two individuals that make one.
Yeah, that's the building process.
Yeah. So for you to enter into a relationship expecting someone to do for you, to lift you up, is a bit, in my eyes, I think that's out of order.
Right. So let me flip it
Yeah.
and be different. So you would have the man who would say, I want to provide for her. I don't necessarily want her to work. I will pay whatever bills and mortgage or rent, whatever, or I've got my own home, so she doesn't need to worry about anything like that. Now, what do you say to that side? Because there are men who are like that.
Now, with regards to a situation like that, there is no harm in that person who is receiving all of that to not do. And now when I say that, I don't mean, okay, the man may want to provide, he might always want to, but there are other things that you can do within the relationship to enhance. And when I say enhance, I'm not talking about lifting another person up. Enhance what you have. So for me, even if I had a partner that was doing all the time for me, he can't do everything for me.
Right.
So I would have to do something for him,
Yes.
for him to want to be with me.
Yeah.
Because as much as he may be the provider, the giver, most of the time, at some point, he's going to feel like he wants something back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And as much as people say, I want to be able to do give, there gets to a point in their life where they can't give anymore. They sit down and reflect upon what they've been doing and realize this person's taking advantage of me.
Right.
Now, when they set the standards to say they want to be the provider, The goalpost has moved now. So they no longer want to be the provider. And it's not that they don't want to be the provider. It's just things have changed in the relationship. So where they wanted to give, the person who was receiving wasn't reciprocating in any possible way. So now they're feeling used.
That's right,
And now they're seeing things through different eyes. But I give you everything.
Because I feel like if that man is providing for you, I would feel for me, I have to provide back. It might not be financially. It could be in other ways. I might, you know.
Yeah, you may wash his clothes.
All
you
the
may
time,
cook his food.
you know, or do something special to show the appreciation.
That's right.
You know, because maybe, because I see it like this. All right, men, I'm just being general now. Men and women.
Yeah.
Women like to be spoiled and whatnot.
Men
right?
too.
No, but I was going to get to that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, men want to be treated nice and spoiled as well.
Yeah.
They don't get it enough, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of this male, female.
Yeah. We have roles, so
roles,
to speak.
right?
Yeah.
Which I feel there is some bits where it's kind of breaking away from that so-called tradition.
Yeah.
But it's very nice when you see the, whether it's the excitement or the delight of their woman
or man
treating them, whether it's even maybe give them flowers or you know,
little
tickets
things
to something that they really like. So maybe it might be one of their favorite shows in the West End or whichever theatre or something, you know, something like that. Or music, if they buy them a certain album that they were looking for and they couldn't find it, you know,
or a piece of equipment or something that they say
those little small things,
they count for a lot. That
will make them so ecstatic, like, oh my gosh, like, you done that for me, like, they feel very overwhelmed and like, oh my gosh, me, like me,
you got that for me, and that's a humble person that would have that outlook on what was done for them. And I think when having this conversation, it's made me look a little bit deeper, because I don't think people know what they want.
Yes.
And I say that they don't know what they want because they think they want this type of thing or this type of relationship. But like you said, there's a stereotype. They're following suit. Because this is advertised. This is supposed to be
and
the
this
kind
is
of
what
person
society says you must be attracted to.
So when you look at it, it's for us to know ourselves, to know what we want.
Yeah, it's about knowing what you want, but not bowing down to peer pressure. Not letting outside things determine get in your way of what
scramble your decisions.
You are attracted to what you like in a person. Because I think that plays a lot as well. I think whether it's for the young people or even our age or even older.
For real.
You know, because you could have someone in their 60s and you've got their friends be like, what are you doing with him? Like, you know, like, but that's what you are attracted to. You feel that this person is being good
and it's
to
not
you.
always looks that you're attracted to.
Right.
You know, some people are attracted to inner being. You have a conversation with someone and that person to you is phenomenal. Because of conversation. You overlook what you see. You don't even see, because what you see deep within.
Because obviously, I will say this, you will look at a person visually, but as you have conversations with them, that is kind of pushed back and you're more involved or absorbing his or her personality. For me, I can't see someone and be like, I like your personality. For me, it doesn't work like that, because as long as you've got eyes, you're visually seeing something, whether you're gonna say I like that or not.
So initially you're visually attracted to somebody,
because you can see that person, you'll be like, they look nice, but then
but you don't know what's beyond that,
right? So that's where the conversation kicks in. And having different types of conversation, varied, not just the
the regular,
yeah, or the, you know, some of them like to talk about the physical sides and all that.
That's right.
You know, what's your dress size? What's your, you know, underwear size? You know, stuff like that, which I feel early in getting to know something that you don't need to know about that.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, of course, yeah.
Yeah. You do really want to know the deep stuff about that person. When I say deep, like your morals, your standards.
Yeah, your goals, your ambitions.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Sometimes work does play a major role as well as to ascertaining a person's drive and their personality. And I know, like, we touched on a guy working at McDonald's. That doesn't make him less a person.
No, not at all.
Because it's what's inside of him.
Not at all.
You know,
That's right.
so that's just a job.
Yeah.
At that time,
Yeah.
that he has. You don't know what he does in McDonald's.
Right.
So therefore, how can you judge him just because he says he works at McDonald's?
That's right. You don't know what he could have a franchise.
Exactly. He could own the franchise.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and those are the things that I think we need to look at as individuals, because yes, we look at for something, we've got influences from other things, and we need to get the balance.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I look at people in relationships, you know, you have girlfriends, you have conversations, you hear things being said to the point that you wonder, why are you actually with that individual? Or why are you doing those things, and so on and so forth. So it makes you wonder, what did they get into the relationship for?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because everyone gets into a relationship for different reasons. It could be sexual, but that's based on how the relationship starts. So, you know, if you meet somebody and you're sitting in a bar, you have a good conversation with them, your relationship initially is based off of conversation. If you meet someone and you have a one-night stand with them, your relationship is a sexual one. So you're gravitated to them for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 reasons.
That's right.
Yeah? So every relationship that you go into for a number of reasons. You might like how he looks, you might like how he smells. You don't really think about that when you personally are looking for somebody, or you've seen somebody. The person might smile a certain way, the person might have just moved your drink from falling off the table.
That's right. Yeah.
And just that attribute, you thought, oh wow, that was really sweet of you. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're in a full-blown conversation.
That's true. That is so very true.
Yeah. So based on that, we have looked at this topic. We're getting deeper and deeper into this conversation. So I'd like to take this opportunity to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to iLiveUK.
Yeah, y'all. That was in 2004. But I'm not singing that no more. Cause guess what? I found it. And I found it. Looking back on it, I guess I had reached my peak. I was so fed up with always finding Mr. Deadbeat. But ooh, you came along, and now I see that my new love was standing right here, yeah, beside me. And I found it. What I was looking for, I found it. A love I do adore. And I found it. Ooh, what I was praying for, I found it. My new love and so much more. And now my life life is just how I always wanted to be. I got a real man to the bone that knows how to love me and treat me right through my life, never ever without me. And I'll let him know he's special, so I won't ever have to say again. And I found it, what I was looking for. I found it, a love I do adore. And I found it, ooh, what I was praying for. I found it, my new love and so much more. And I found it, what I was looking for. I found it, a love I do adore. And I found it, ooh, what I was praying for. I found it, my new love and so much more. And I found it, what I was looking for. I found it, a love I do adore. And I found it, ooh, what I was praying for. I found it, my new love and so much more.
Welcome back. Today's topic is, what do you look for in a man or a woman? If you want to connect with us, you can contact us on 0208 638 8503. WhatsApp text only on 07 939 661 061, or on a new website uk.i-liveradio.com. So we touched on the subject, what we're looking for in a man or woman, and whether what we are actually looking for is what we actually need or want in an individual. So we thought about characteristics in an individual.
Yeah.
When we think about connecting with somebody or meeting someone, what do we really want out of that individual? Being honest with ourselves.
Well, it just boils down to the individual, what they want and what they're looking for. We can't speak for other people.
Yeah, but when I say what I'm saying is, are we looking for security in an individual? Is it love?
It's many things. As I said, it's down to everyone's interpretation of what they want.
Yeah.
We can say what we want because we know what we want, but what we may want, they wouldn't want.
Yeah.
They probably want something else.
That's right.
When we were younger, I think it was all about being in relationships. Now it's kind of more casual. There's no...
That want isn't there, is it?
Yeah, to actually build on a relationship, to whether you want to get married or just be with that person for the rest of your life. Like,
I feel that when I think about our parents, I think they were more in relationships for life.
Yeah.
When they entered into their vows, it was more, they were going to die together, basically. There's a slightly different spin on that now. And I think people want to be in relationships, but when they've had a bad one, it turns the whole relationship thing on its head.
I think they more or less tarnish the whole relationship itself.
Yeah.
Like, they feel the next person's going to do the same thing to them.
Yeah.
They put up that. And I think that's a form of protecting themselves in a way, maybe,
But-
because they don't want to be hurt, and it depends on the extent of hurt.
But I feel when people are in relationships, obviously you look for things that you're interested in or attracted to.
Yeah.
But that changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one part may still be attracted to those things.
Yeah.
Hence the reason they look elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that person who's in that relationship is not truly being honest. Because they're attracted to something that they're receiving from one person, but they want it from other people.
From someone else, yeah. So who
They're
they
happy
really
to-
want.
Yep. So for me, they don't really want to be in a serious relationship. They just want to be attracted to those kinds of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it all kind of goes wrong, because people aren't being honest. They meet somebody, they are a certain kind of way, and they're attracted to something, but they're attracted to that something in numerous people. So to enter into a relationship knowing you're that way inclined isn't being truthful. You're not looking to settle down at that point in your life. You're interested in that type of person in numerous people.
Right. But initially, are they looking to settle down? I think it goes back to that individual person and them actually sitting down and thinking like, what do I really want?
Yeah.
Because it's either a thing of thinking what you feel you want,
Yeah.
but not necessarily that's what you want.
So you're saying thinking what you want and knowing what you want are two different things. So it's only when you're in a predicament that you actually realise that what you were thinking you wanted isn't what you actually wanted.
Right, correct, yeah.
So it's down to that person, that individual, to identify and be truthful with themselves about what they want from what they don't want.
That's right.
And I feel this is why in the current climate there is a lack of relationships per se. In the earlier years, like maybe when we were, you were settling down with someone pretty young.
Yeah.
Like they were your partner, so to speak.
Yeah, 'cause-
when I say settling down, but I mean like you had a serious partner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I feel that with that was either leading up to getting married and
Having
having children and setting up home and saving up your money, so when the kids get older they don't have to really worry about money for whatever, you know what I mean. It's an interesting subject, as in the half an hour before, do we know what we really want?
Exactly. Do we know
We actually really know what we want? Like, can you actually sit down and say to yourself, I am content, I am happy in this relationship?
And I find,
and then if there's, sorry to cut you, if there's, because we all have vibes, we have that gut feeling, and if that gut is like tugging you like, no, because do you remember that situation? Do you remember that situation? Then you know that
you need to move yourself.
This is not the situation or the relationship you should be in.
Yeah.
Because you should be. Don't get me wrong. We will have arguments with our partners about stuff, but my thing is, for me, if I'm in a relationship with someone and we have arguments, I want to make sure we resolve it before we go to bed.
That's important.
That night, so the next morning that is in the past.
In the past, a fresh start.
It's not there to be
brought
up again.
Thrown in your face.
I just want it to be done and dusted and move on.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. When I think about the fact that the younger generation now they're having relationships, but the lifespan of these relationships don't appear very long, because I'm hearing young girls in their 20s, and this is like the whole spectrum of 20s. This isn't just 21s and 22s. This is like 27s, the whole of the 20s. Are saying things like, oh, I don't need a man, I don't want a man, I can do everything for myself. on one side of the coin, they're positive things because obviously they're aspiring to great things.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side, to be at that age and expressing those kind of things tells me one of two things. You've been hurt.
Yeah.
There's trust issues.
Yeah.
Now, that's a relationship that's come along and you've been in it. It's gone whatever way it's gone, and it's left a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
The generation that are up and coming today, they're the kind that been there, done it, not interested. I find that that's how they are.
Right.
You know, with our generation now, we were triers. We wanted things to work out. We wanted to have that family unit because we knew that our parents had that.
And it's what you see
exactly
from growing up.
It all, when you look at the big picture, we were accustomed to seeing mum and dad.
Yeah.
Now the kids of today, there's mum or there's dad.
Yeah.
There is mum and dad in some scenarios, but when you think about it and you look at it, it's like a breakdown of relationships. You know, our parents were together till death do us part. You know, the next generations after that were in it, but didn't stay in it because there was a lot of divorce.
Yeah.
In a certain time span, like people who are now in their 50s, probably kind of like got divorced in their 40s.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, it's like you can see the pattern.
Yeah. I would say as well, even though for those who were brought up in single parent homes back in the day, I still feel that those young ones growing up, I do feel that they did want to be in relationship, and maybe they looked at the situation their parent was in, and
most definitely
they see certain signs. Well, I'm not going to put up with that because my mum or my dad was doing this, that, the other, and I don't want that for my relationship, and so forth. So it was, I would say it's a learning curve as well, because as children or young adults, we process a lot of information.
We do, yes.
On our surroundings and what we see, and we then
that's our
put
benchmark.
that into what we want for ourselves.
Yeah, we put it in the perspective, but we don't know if the perspective we have it in is the right one for us.
Yeah.
Because we're basing it off of somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's not until you try something do you know whether it works or not.
That's right. Yeah.
So thinking about this and how we're bobbing and weaving in this topic, it all boils down to what perceptions we have of the word relationship. What are you looking for in a person? That togetherness.
Yeah.
Now, if you meet someone, are you in your right to expect anything from that person? Why should you expect anything from that person? Because when a person meets you, do they expect something from you?
That's the thing. And it's more or less always, as I said, I weigh up the male-female roles of what a male should be or female
shouldn't be. So on and so forth.
So it should work both ways. It should work both ways. Go on.
So technically speaking, when we enter into a relationship, it should be like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Because neither of us know anything about each other.
That's right.
And no one should be in a position to be judging anyone or casting judgment or making comments, because you technically speaking don't know each other. Now, when you meet each other, it's how you meet each other as well that changes the dynamics also. Yeah. So if it becomes something, a conversation leading to conversation into conversation, that's one avenue. Now, if you enter into a relationship, like we're saying, on a sexual tip now, that's a different ball game. Because now that's emotions. That's got nothing to do with verbals. So sometimes you get people entering into relationships on a physical side, and they don't know how to conversate with each other, because every time they've met, it's just been about being physical.
Yeah.
Now, that works up to a point, and then it doesn't work, because as you get older, you can't become less physical. Some people don't, some people do, but weighing it up and looking at years of generations, it's the togetherness, the talking, the communicating that's kept people together. It hasn't been the physical.
Right.
You know, the physical has played a part, but it hasn't.
But
it fizzles out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because your responsibilities change, your availability changes. When you're young, you're able to do whatever you want to do, aren't you? When you have responsibilities, time, stress, so on and so forth. So, for me, it's when you look at it from that aspect, it's like conversation is good. Conversation is important.
Yeah.
And I think we need to understand that. Yeah, you can meet someone in a club. I'm just using that as an example. And you can have that person there for years. But it's about how truthful you are as an individual would determine your journey.
But with meeting someone and having great conversations, would you say it will give you an idea of if you would want to pursue that relationship? Because I don't know, like for me, if I'm talking to someone, I'm trying to catch a vibe from you, and if that vibe isn't there, then I'm not going to pursue it any further.
So for me, when I think about relationships or meeting the right person for the right reasons, conversation I think is more important than the physical. Because the simple reason is you shouldn't have got to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a thing of,
but it's everyone's different.
Yeah, but it's a thing of where I've seen what you look like. Yeah. Physically nice. What are you saying about yourself?
Yeah.
You know.
That's right.
Who are you?
Yeah. And I think now, because we don't talk as much, we have all this social media.
Yes.
We don't have conversations.
Yeah.
So everyone is in a room, but they're communicating
on their phones,
social media. So how can you conversate?
And that's lacking as well.
This is what I'm saying. It's all breaking down.
So you go online to meet your date.
Yeah.
You type away, having these conversations.
Yeah.
Getting to know each other. You eventually strike up the courage to have the date.
Yeah.
You go on the date, but then it's kind of stagnant.
Yeah.
Beforehand, before internet and social media, you could go out somewhere and have a conversation about anything and everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like now it's just all technology. And I feel sometimes we need to break away from that. Because we don't go. Whether you go to a bar or a restaurant, that interaction ain't there.
It's not there, and it's a barrier. This social media is a barrier.
It is.
Because even though you communicate on social media, it can be interpreted
You're not
incorrectly.
Social in real social life.
Yeah, and you can write a message in a chat room or in a conversation with someone, and that can be taken in the wrong
because how would you know if they're being
genuine
or not, or if they're meant to be saying something funny and you've decided to take an offense to it? It's
and sometimes that's why these emojis kick in now.
Because you have to put that there to let them know, it's
I'm having a laugh. Or I'm being serious, or I'm sad, or I'm upset, or whatever it may be. But otherwise, when you read it, sometimes you have to read a message 2-3 times to think,
reread it.
Okay, that's what you meant. And then even when you're thinking to respond, you're thinking, I don't want to offend. I didn't get that. So I put a smiley face at the end. I'll put LOL before I start a sentence. So these are all barriers that have been created, and we don't even know what we're doing when we're doing what we're doing. True. But it has an impact on us moving forward.
It does.
And now it's become a visual thing now, where Instagram, so to speak, everyone's posting things of themselves.
Yeah, it's very...
and it's like you're getting a certain type of people attracted to you. then they see you out, and then you don't reflect what you are on your Insta. And it's like, what do you not get? It's like being false. I think it's very, very false.
It is.
And then these people cannot have conversations.
They can't.
They literally just stand up next to each other.
Stand there and hi. Hi. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It doesn't get no better than that.
And that's about it.
And we have a lot of conversations about things, and it's only when we really dig deep that we actually think to ourselves, oh wow, this is why this is broken down. And it all seems to go straight back to the current climate we're in, the breakdown in communication.
Yeah, it's basically non-existent.
It's quite worrying.
It is. It's quite strange.
Because we don't really think of it like this.
And the thing is, because we've come from a generation of not having the internet. Yeah. So we can see both sides, but it's like, for someone who is from that internet world, who didn't know about beforehand, it's their norm. Because it's like, why don't you go out and meet someone? And they're like, no, it's alright, I'll just chat to whoever on here and then see where it goes. And I'm like, how can you see where it goes from typing on your phone or, you know, your laptop or whatever?
I think there's a fear. And
rejection.
And I think it is the fact that people are out there portraying to be something that they're not. And as a result of that, they have to keep all of this up.
Yeah, the facade.
So they have to keep it all up to a point so that person gets to know them to a point. So when they do physically see them, they don't feel inadequate.
Yeah.
Or even though their picture doesn't look like they did, but their personality has now come through. So now the person's attracted to their personality, not how they look. So it's a play with the mind, because technically if you're painting a picture, that person's attracted to you because of the way that you look. Then you try and build on that, so your personality can come through. Once your personality comes through, then you want to meet that person. Yeah. So to me, that's quite deceitful.
It is.
Because we're digging deep now. And we're really like thinking about what it actually is. And it kind of like makes sense. That's what they're doing. They're building up the relationship. Yeah. But they can't physically do it in person.
Which is...
It's quite sad.
It is sad. Clearly there's a low self-esteem as well.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Because if you don't have the confidence to, when you finally meet them, to have a conversation or have that date, like, because you could be all whatever, typing away like you're, you know, the top person here and whatever, but then you're all shy and timid and not really engaging in person. So it's like what you've been portraying, conversing with all them times is like a completely different person.
Yeah. And that must happen a lot.
Yeah.
Because we don't think that deep until it's possibly gone wrong.
Yeah.
We take ourselves away from the equation, then we actually realise, oh my God, that's why it went wrong, and that's why so what I was attracted wasn't actually what I do like.
Yeah.
And it breaks it all down for you, but you don't see it at the forefront because you're so caught up in something else.
Yeah.
Once again, if you want to connect with us, you can contact us on 0208 638 8503. or on WhatsApp text only 07939 661 061. You can connect with me also on Talks Honest on Facebook, Talks Honest on Instagram, and at Talks Honest Show on Twitter. So we talked about this subject of what we're looking for in a man or a woman. We touched on characteristics, personalities, visual preferences, and what got us to a point of having a relationship, finding a relationship, connecting with someone to the point that we feel that we can move forward one way or another. It's been an interesting topic, right?
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Because now we're looking at things through different eyes.
Yeah, it's like we've dissected it and...
Again.
And then we've just found like new things like, okay. Yeah.
Kind of connecting the dots.
Yeah.
As to why things are perceived one way and done another way, and where things are misunderstood along the way as well.
Right.
Because we don't really think about something until it's gone wrong.
That's right.
I find.
Yeah.
I think that's just us as a people. We don't really identify things because sometimes we step into things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So
or
then,
we don't want to see it.
Or we don't want to see it for what it actually
Yeah.
is. And that's sometimes based off of past relationships as well, that's caused you to close down on certain things and not look or see certain things because you choose to block them out of your mind.
Right.
So the subject is an interesting one, and it's something that is food for thought.
Right. So then what would you be your food for thought to the listeners on this subject of, if that's your goal in looking for a relationship, to that individual? Like, what would you say to them when it comes to pursuing that relationship?
I think the key in any relationship is knowing yourself, knowing your capabilities, knowing what you want out of life, before you go seeking elsewhere.
Right.
When you've got inner love, you're more content within yourself.
Yeah.
And you have a better outlook on what you want. And it may not necessarily mean that you lack something, but you have good grounding.
Yeah.
And you, at the end of the day, you know what you do want from what you don't want.
Right.
And I think when you are not grounded, or you're not focused on yourself, or not in tune with yourself, you tend to look for things sporadically.
Yeah.
And you fall into situations and then wonder how you got into them, because you haven't really thought the process through properly. So my thing would be to look at yourself before you seek for others.
Right.
Know yourself before you try to enter into something and find that something's not going right. Because it's all about you at the end of the day, who you are as a person. If you don't know who you are as a person, how can you connect with somebody else and try and build?
And I think it's a question someone would need to sit down, maybe even write it in a journal or something, and ask the question, are you ready for a relationship?
Yeah, 100%.
What makes you ready for a relationship? And maybe list down why you think you are. And if you feel what you've written assures you that, yeah, I am ready, then go forth. But if there's little gaps in between, then maybe you need to
just analyze it
and maybe look at yourself and think,
exactly,
as you said, it's about self-love.
it is.
Yeah.
I think you've got to love yourself before you can love others. And if you don't, if you're not in tune with yourself, it's really hard to reach out to others and be at one and whole to another. So I'd like to say good night and God bless, and thank you for listening to the show.
What if we spoke honestly? 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 Never twist up coming in, as I now feel it, fear it, unraveling. Beat the fold of habit and distrust that all leads to our reckoning. Still softly spoken in acceptance, I beg. Any excuse in the name of love, you taught me well. My heart bleeds as you hesitate on words and choke. I feel it all, each your mind together, got my feet entangled. No one sought to slip and lead. Truth the past dragged upon me.
You're listening to iLive Radio.